Bay Harbor has had a ongoing issue with the California Coastal Commission, and it's coming to a head. One of the newer residents of the development of Bay Harbor, in fact, he bought Maricella's home, and I think he lives across the street from Linda and Alex Bellehumeur. But the Coastal Commission had issued a violation on Bay Harbor for access to public places. And I'm really paraphrasing this because it's quite convoluted. It's difficult to follow. Linda, do you want to share what you learned last night?
Well, I'll share with you. It is very convoluted, and it's an ongoing process. We were notified a few months ago that the Coastal Commission had determined that there was an old easement before this development was built in the late 70s, that there was an easement directly through and across Bay Harbor for access to the park at the end. We're going, wait a minute, there's all kinds of issues. We were permitted to build. I think there's adverse possession issues. They bring this up 40 years later, all kinds of things. But the gist of it, as I understand it, is this: they're still working on it with getting more documentation. The city is everybody's under lockdown because of COVID. So there's documentation that they need from the Coastal Commission, the state, the city, that they're still working on getting, make a long story short. So the process is still going, but we're told if we fight it, we will lose, and there will be massive repercussions because they can fine us, I think it was $11,000 some odd a day. So their goal is to get access to the park at the end, and which is fine. But the original developers provided that access by putting in bike paths and walking paths along lines, and then just down the side street, Costa del Sol, to the park. So they don't need access.
Linda, what park are you talking about? Where is this park?
God, what's the name of it?
It's Jack Nickel Park, which sits across the water from Tantalum.
Right.
Has public access to it already. Costa del Sol is the street that runs adjacent to Bay Harbor that provides the access. Additionally, there's access along the
water side.
Water side that is across from Spinnaker Bay, and
they basically are looking to take away guard-gated communities, is the brunt of what we've been told by the 5 sets of attorneys that have been on this. So I don't know how it's going to end. Obviously, anybody who sold within Bay Harbor, you can't disclose something you don't know. So there's not that issue, but we were just told about this a few months ago. And, it's going to be what it's going to be. We're doing some high-level negotiations. But the Coastal Commission is a pretty powerful body. And and they usually get their way.
There's widespread belief by the homeowners in Bay Harbor that have explored this deeply, in including the doctor Gabriel. He's used an extensive amount of his time to look into this. He feels there is a corruption element to the way the Coastal Commission has gone about this, and he's of the mind to fight it. The homeowners association board of directors would rather not do that. Excuse me, Linda, you want to share some more? I've got to talk to Barry.
Yes. Last night they went point by point through the doctor's allegations, suggestions. And I don't want to say debunked, but they disputed a lot of what he was saying, most of what he was saying. So we're still searching out records and things like that. When I say we, I'm not on that committee. The committee is searching out records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think that the doctor's allegations are going to go forward.
Linda, let me ask you a question. So, and Jeff, maybe you want to weigh in on this. If you could unmute him, Nick. Are we at a point where we need to disclose that this is an issue, or
Yes,
and what do we have to disclose? I mean,
you have
we're
to
disclosing that there could be an issue with an easement, and this is going to be on the waterfront property, right?
No, it goes right through the green belt.
Oh, for God's
It goes
sakes.
to the back.
Who the hell wants to walk through there to get to there? I mean, sorry, but
You know, it goes from our back gate, which is next to Spinnaker Coves, you know, right across from Spinnaker Coves, all the way down to the Jack Nickel Park. In addition, from the front gate to the water side, down that green belt. And they want to take down the guard shack.
oh, so they want to make your community an ungated community. So I guess you would need to disclose that. There's a possibility that that would become an ungated community.
Well, an unsecured,
Unguarded,
you know,
ungated.
it's all up in negotiation right now. Some of the
Well, you could still have a private community without a guard. You could still have gates that were
access. No, we have to have access to the public. Now we're negotiating on that about what hours, because the park is only open certain hours.
Mark Manwaring says he can give an overview from his. But before I go to Mark, Jeff, did you want to say anything?
I agree with you completely, Chris. It absolutely has to be disclosed. Even though we don't know the outcome of it yet, this is not something that you would like to revisit in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years with a client that's doing business in Bay Harbor now. You've got to disclose it. You disclose what the allegation is and what is being done to date, and then the buyer is going to make a decision about whether to buy or not buy.
I will say this, it mostly affects the houses that back up to the green belt. Because
well, if people wander off the green belt, it's going to affect everybody.
Absolutely. And they say, oh, there's going to be signs that they can't go off the, you know, they can't go off the path. Yeah, right.
Just like your dogs can't go on the grass. Everybody's going to believe it or read it or adhere to it.
Yeah. So it's not so much the waterfront that I mean, the whole community is affected. There's no question about that. Security and everything else, but it doesn't affect the waterfront properties as much as it does those backing up to the green belt.
Okay. All right, Mark.
Yeah, just to give you a kind of a quick update, naturally, we've received lots of calls on this over the last couple months, and just to kind of give you some context from a title standpoint and these things showing up on a title report, the actual easement was issued only across the common areas, which would be the green belt, tennis courts, and so forth. And when you own in Bay Harbor, when you sell anything and title searches it, they're searching the lot. Correct. And unlike some areas where you also have ownership or an easement in the common areas. So that's why if you look backwards on any of the title companies that have searched in there, the fee ownership is the lot. And that's why the easement isn't posted, because it only affects the common areas.
Right.
So interesting. I did a bunch of research on this. I don't have it handy. I didn't know we were going to go here, but they recorded a track map. And what's interesting is then the easement was done about shortly thereafter, and they didn't update the track map. So there's also a chance there's some reference to it buried in the CC&Rs. There's like 5 versions of it. And they're like 90 pages each. But that's how, I don't know who uncovered this, but that's why any title company that's searched this in the past, it doesn't show as an exception, because the easement applies to the common areas. And like Linda was saying, and it just seems, it seems weird to me. There's already public access to the back, and you know, I've seen the city, not the Coastal Commission, but I've done deals in downtown Long Beach where they vacated the easement, and it seems to me that's the, I don't understand why they just don't vacate the easement. The public can access that back park by car and by bike and by bike path. So, but I just want to let everyone know that's why if you look at any title report, any title company, that exception's not on there, because when the easement was granted, it was only against the common area, which is owned by the HOA, not the individual owners.
Mark, I have a title question for you, because it seems to me, and you know, my husband's a prior real estate developer, when you buy the land, before anything was built, before there was a tract map, when you buy the land, when the developer bought the land, my guess is they got a title policy, which would cover the entire scope of the property.
Yes.
We can't seem to find, or they can't seem to find who that title company was, because I think that's where we have to look.
I can figure that out, but if I recall, the person that granted the easement, I believe it was, I don't know if it was the developer, but it was the person that originally bought the land. I know I've talked to Tony Turek, Talianos, there's about 8 or 10 people I've talked to this about. If you guys want, I can kind of go through my notes and send you some information, but really interesting thing. And I just don't understand the intent of the Coastal pursuing this. And obviously it's negative for the homeowners if they have to open up the gates on, you know, multiple ways for walkways. But if you guys want, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'll email some information, and Linda, I'll look into seeing who insured the original land purchase for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Linda. And Mark, yeah, if you'd send me, I have an abundance of information on this, because I've continued to receive all the emails. Needless to say, as I said earlier, it is a real complex issue, and it appears to many that it's overreached by the Coastal Commission. But that's.
Can I ask one question, Phil? Have any of you agents seen a disclosure on this from any other agent if you've sold in there?
Now,
If you have.
keep in mind, Chris, this only came to light a few months ago.
Yeah, but people have sold in there in the last few months. So I just wondered if anyone's seen. Mark, have you seen anything?
Yeah, I could get you the addresses. I want to say we've insured two in the last 30 days. I don't recall the agents or the addresses, but I can get, you know, my gut is at least one, if not two, post this issue, if that would help you. It's not really.
Yeah, if they did a disclosure, I'd kind of like to see what they're saying. It's, you know.
Yeah, I think it's largely unknown, Chris. That's why I wanted to bring it up this morning. I've been following it, and they had the call last night. That was I was hopeful of it being a little more conclusive than it sounds like it was. But we'll get information to all of you. I just wanted you all to understand that there is an issue that needs to be disclosed in there. So, Mark, thank you very much. Linda, again, thank you. And I want to move on. Mark, anything from the title side of the business? I think you're our only affiliate on the call today.
Just real quick, things remain really busy. What I'm seeing is, you know, all the where the rates are, the refinances are just out of control. How many we're doing, and we see the kind of under $800,000-$900,000 product out there. The purchases, I'm hearing from agents left and right, multiple offers and showing. So we remain busy. We expect next week to be extremely busy. Anytime the end of the month falls on a Friday, it's kind of a double whammy in our business. So we anticipate lots of recordings and high volume towards the end of the week. And we've been getting lots of calls from agents asking about, what's the recording order? I got a deal closing tomorrow. And I just thought I'd give everyone a 20-second overview here. With the COVID, there's no more recording order like the old days where Ticor would be 1 today, 2 tomorrow, and 3 and so forth. The documents are not leaving the title companies, so everything's going in electronically. The good news is the county's gotten rid of the order and they're going first in, first out. So on a transaction, let's say closing tomorrow that funds early today and title has the documents, we have the ability to submit them right now for tomorrow. And the earlier they get in the queue, the earlier you get confirmation the next business day. But when we get the documents late, whether they're coming in from Messenger, a loan fund's late, and we can't submit till 5 or 6 o'clock at night for tomorrow, that tends, to lead to the late recordings. And, all the title companies have bank wire cutoff times at, 2:30-ish. So when we start seeing deals close at 2:05 and 2:10 and 2:15, and we have 70 recordings in one day, it's kind of a challenge sometimes to get all the money moved around. And when that happens, it goes out at 7 in the morning the next day. But there's no more order. It's all electronic, first in, first out, which is a good thing.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark. I want to, before we get to our special guest, we have two other special guests. I want to introduce them. And then I want to go back to a kind of a segue from what Mark was saying based on what Leslie Appleton-Young shared with us on Friday. First of all, I'd like to introduce a guest. I met with this young woman yesterday. She's observing our meeting and hopefully taking advantage of the opportunity to watch Phil Atwan today at noon on 1031 tax deferred exchanges. She hails from Ontario, Canada. Please welcome Ada Greattricks. Good morning, Ada.
Morning, Ada.
And our newest associate, we met on Monday and confirmed that she was joining us, which is tremendously exciting to me. She was referred to me by Maggie Knight. Thank you, Mags. Very, very bright young woman who's just passed her exam and has decided to join us. Please welcome Rose Butler. Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Phil.
Yay, Rosie!
Thanks, Maggie. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Don't you love listening to Rosie? I'd love to listen to Ian and Rose talk. we have one Aussie and one Brit, and they.
I'm sure
So,
we'd understand each other.
Anyway, welcome, Rose.
Thank you.
Want to quickly touch on just one element of our meeting with CR leadership last Friday, and that was Leslie Appleton-Young. And it tied into what Mark is saying is, she said that closings in June were up 42% over May closings, which is understandable. May was a very slow time relative to closings, naturally, because it was a reflection of what happened in March and April in the market when we were under the strictest lockdown. She also went on to say that pendings were up 22.5%. And here's what I wanted to share with you, because Leslie is the chief economist, as you all know, for the California Association of Realtors, and they aren't always totally optimistic, particularly during these difficult times. But she shared that July of this year will likely show more pending and closed sales than July of last year. So we are already back to where we're seeing a number exceeding what it was last year. Mark, I see you were shaking your head, yes. Are you seeing that in terms of the openings and recordings?
Yeah, I mean, just the volume, the volume's up. I mean, we do sales and refinances on the purchase business, definitely significant increase, I'd say, the last 3 to 4 weeks. And
Yeah.
most of the title companies are up 100% year over year on refinances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I interject that the amount of properties that are available are being caught up so quickly that I can't even get my buyers to come in and make a deal. So it's really difficult, especially in certain locations, which is El Dorado Park Estates and Rossmore both. So
Yeah,
we're having a really hard time.
inventory is record lows, and we're not seeing a great number of new listings coming on the market. We're optimistic that we will see this as we move out of this particular phase with the surge in cases. We'll move forward. As we've said many times on these calls, most homeowners are discovering the home they're in may not be that dream home, and want to move. So we'll see what goes on, but it was good news in terms of that. And our sales board in the Examino office, with a week to go in July, is almost full, which matches what we did last month. If you remember, we had 127 open sides in June. So there's positive news. Again, I want to acknowledge all you for your adaptability and resilience. And with that, I want to introduce our special guest this morning. He has been a friend for a number of years, and based on the response to my email announcing he was going to be our guest this morning, many of you have seen his presentations and obviously enjoy those as much as we have as a rule. He and I talked. We think now is a particularly good time to talk about mental health and positive attitude as we move through these times. So without taking up any more time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Barry Eisen. Good morning, Barry.
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, good morning.
Because I heard about 10% of what you said. You were kind of breaking up. I don't know if there were mics on and whatever that noise was, but hopefully I can come across and make some sense of things. It's really good to be there. I see familiar faces, Janie, and just a bunch of other people that we've seen over the years. And it's really nice to know that you're doing and you're doing well, hopefully anyway. Anyway, for those people who haven't known me, give me for about 30 seconds. Let me give you a little bit of a background because I want to really lay out some very specific things that you can do in behavioral terms to really make a difference, physically as well as in your business. I studied neuroscience when it was obvious that I wasn't going to get into the big leagues playing baseball. Played semi-pro for 5 years. When I went back for master's degrees in neuroscience and psychology, I was really kind of struck by hypnosis, behavior modification, the whole Skinner, there was just so many influences there. And one of my first contacts was in the big leagues. So I worked with professional baseball players, a lot of track and field people.
Barry,
we're getting static on your audio.
You know, I can hardly hear what you're saying. Somebody is trying to correct me, and I want to hear it, but I'll be quiet. Tell me what you have to say.
We're getting static on your audio end. Is there any way for you to?
The mic might.
Let me get rid of this and see if that's any better.
No.
Let me change it over to.
Yeah, something's up with your mic, I think.
Well, that was the. Now I went to an internal built-in mic. Is that better?
Beautiful. Good job.
Yes.
Okay. Don't know what that puppy was, but that was about $75 down the old toilet. So anyway, yeah, my background is I played baseball poorly enough to know I wasn't going to go anyplace, but I had contacts, and I started working with as a sports psychologist, professional baseball players, track and field, swimmers, divers, just all kinds of athletes, because I get really good seats wherever I want to go normally when something is in town. And then I kind of progressed and I started working with schools and lectured at the law schools in Southern California, worked with about 1,600 students to pass the bar exam first time, hopefully first time at the end of their third year. And our passing percentage is about 85%, where it normally is 75% failure rate. And then started working with entrepreneurs. And this all started in 1972. So for 45 years plus, I've been working with maybe hundreds of thousands of people. The main theme is changing habits, attitudes, developing focus, concentration, confidence levels. And when you come to these times that we're all in now, there's an extra degree of pressure that is put on everybody. And the pressure really comes from the inside of us, not the outside. Now, disastrous things can happen in the ways of COVID-19, politics. Everybody is really stoking up the flames quite high. And you can think that you are faring fairly well in these times, but your body and your brain processes things differently. And as a result of that different kind of processing, the stress that we internalize can intimidate the way that we make decisions, how we see the world through our filtration system. So most of us do the best we can. And the fact is, if we had a few more tools, that might make life a little bit easier to negotiate. So if you were at the last office meeting that I spoke in Long Beach, And forgive me for the redundancy of this particular neuroscience hack, but I want to share with you a number of things that I really find that people have a cursory understanding of, but don't get into the weeds enough to get the real power behind these ideas. So as a case in point, I'd like you all to bring in a nice deep breath in through your mouth and out through your mouth. Nicely done. Now, this time, I'd like you to bring in that big breath of air exclusively through your nose and then out through your nose. The second way is healthier. Do you know why? Well, you're all on mute, so this is really a rhetorical question, so I'll answer it. One way is when you breathe in through the nose, you're using the hair in your nose to filter out the particulates in the air. Those are the pollutions that get caught in the nose hairs. That's why we develop them. Much like your house has a filtration system for the AC and the heating, you filter out hopefully the largest molecules that can do damage anyway. Not the most important thing that I'm getting to. The second point is when you breathe in through the nose, the air is passing by the sinus passageways. The sinuses will dump more than 50% more oxygen into the air that you're bringing in ultimately to the lungs. So you're breathing more efficiently. Athletes are taught at high levels of performance to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, because you're bringing in more usable oxygen, and the slower rate of exhaling through the nose versus going through the mouth allows you to use more of that oxygen once it's in the lungs and going through your circulatory system. That's not the most important element. When you breathe in air through the nose, tests have shown that nose breathers, and you can teach yourself to become more of a nose breather just by being consciously doing that more of the time that you're aware of breathing, which can be a lot. When you breathe in air, normally lower diaphragmatic breathing comes from breathing in through the nose. Those people typically do that. That means you're stirring the organs in the lower portion of your gut. That's a good thing for things to keep in motion. That's not the most important thing. The fourth and last most important thing that I'm getting to is this. When you bring in air higher up into the facial mask, it creates a vibration. That's friction. It's the air movement. The air movement creates friction on what it touches, and that would be, in this portion of your head, the skull. On the other side of the skull, inside the skull, is your brain, of course. That's the reason for the skull, is to protect the brain. But in that portion of the brain that touches the skull in that area of your head is your neocortex. The neocortex is the critical thinking portion of your brain. It's the right from wrong, the good, the bad. When you're in a conversation, you're formulating ideas. It's also associated with the hippocampus portion of the brain, which has to do with short-term memory. So the more you stimulate the neuron cells, the brain cells in the neocortex, the more excited they become, the more oxygen that's there, the more it functions the way that it was designed. Here's the bottom line to that piece of information. Before you go into a presentation, whether it's a Zoom presentation, whether it's on the telephone, whether it's in person, it doesn't really matter. Whether you're taking a test or wanting to read faster, if you begin with a ritual, simply of breathing in and out 3 or 4 times through your nose, you stimulate the brain cells. If you do that often enough, you create neurogenesis. That means your brain produces more brain cells. It has the capacity to do so once it's stimulated in that area. It also improves the plasticity of the brain, the flexibility of the brain to learn better and to produce better responses. So before a presentation of any sort, or even having a conversation that's important with somebody in your family, get into the habit, the ritual, if you will, of taking a few breaths in and then silently tell yourself how you're going to perform. What are you going to be responsible for? It might be listening better, asking better questions, questions, processing information more quickly and correctly. It might be being more assertive. It might be reading faster. It might be recalling information to the test in the given time that you have. It could be having a conversation with more compassion, understanding, and caring in your responses. It could be a gazillion different things. Athletes are taught rituals before they play, whether it's golf, whether it's basketball, shooting free throws. And now you have what sports psychologists teach athletes so they can be their best when they need to be their best. So hopefully that comes in handy. Don't just take it as a little nodding head of a dog in the back seat of a car, but write it down and really use it. And if you use it 3, 5, 10 times a day, you're way ahead of the game. So hopefully that makes an impact. Here's as long a list as I can get to in the next hour and a half of my presentation. Oh, some of you took a very big breath there. I'm just joking with you. We're going to be done by 10 o'clock. But I want to go through a list, and this is in no order of importance, but I think you'll find some of these things kind of interesting. One of the things that people are determining these days in the high pressure anxiety age that most people put themselves into is that people play the victim. Well, look, if you're not sick, don't act like you are sick. So here's some things that you can do. Number one, in no order of importance, stay on as regular a schedule during the day as you possibly can. Make your calls at a certain time. And of course, you have different schedules because of other people's timings. But if you can, block out your time. There's nothing like regularity that the brain likes. Your bowels enjoy that as well. I understand that some of you are thinking that. But if your brain has something to look forward to, there is a sense of stability in this unsettled world that we all happen to be sharing. So do your things at a regular time. What happens when you do things that way, it impacts your circadian rhythm. That's the body's ebb and flow, it's your biorhythms. It's important to maintain that circadian rhythm because your circadian rhythm impacts your lymph system and your endocrine system. One detoxifies your system and the other creates moods. So if you want to stay on an even keel without experiencing those very highs and very lows, stay on an even routine during your day. It's good to do exciting, different things. Pepper your week with things like that. Absolutely, look forward to things. But basically, make your bed in the morning, do the things on a regular basis. Don't get lax and lackadaisical and sloppy. You will not have to pay a price if you do. In with that, and my number 2 is sleep a solid 7 or 8 hours and go to sleep the same time and wake up the same time. Approximately. There's no hard, fast rules to it. But when you sleep in 90-minute cycles. About your 75th minute of sleep, you enter a REM sleep. In your REM sleep, your brain pushes the lymphatic button to cleanse your system. If you wake up numerous times during the night, you're probably impairing your ability to detoxify. So learn how to sleep well, learn how to sleep organically throughout the night, not just by adding an extra glass of wine before you go to sleep or taking an over-the-counter medication or lighting up a doobie or whatever it is that you do. I'm not a teetotaler and I'm not one of those fanatics, but if you become dependent on outside things for your sleep, recognize that they give, but they take away. They will generally drop you into a very deep sleep to begin with, but that throws off an organic and a more rhythmical sleep cycle. So learn to sleep well. Also, as a tip, learn to sleep on your left side when you're aware of it. Studies have shown at SC and Stanford more recently that people who have a tendency of sleeping on their left side end up, because of the alignment of the organs, have a tendency of detoxifying their blood systems and cells much more efficiently. Think about that. Number 3, eat well. I talked to somebody the other day. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching in these days because everybody's home and Zoom and no travel and yay. And one guy said he looked down at his scale and his scale was one of those talking. And he says, practice social distancing. only one person on the scale at a time. Guy had gained a lot of weight because it's easy to go for the comfort food when your body and brain craves comfort. But in those runs to Costco, where you load up on all the chips and all of those kinds of foods that are absolutely poison for you, they're fun at the appropriate times. But if that becomes the go-to, got to question that and get back on the straight and narrow. They say that the most important and the most powerful and positive way to eat is Mediterranean diet. Now, you may be attuned to something else, and that's fine. I'm not here to override what has worked for you. But over a period of time, it's the grains, it's the lack of carbohydrates, it's the nuts, it's the seeds, it's the salmon, it's the extra virgin cold pressed olive oils. And if you study the Mediterranean diet for all of about a minute and a half, just take a look at the list if you're not totally familiar. Don't make it a big study, it's no test. But even if you're not committed to it, it doesn't matter. When you go to the store and you're loading up to take stuff home, or you get into a restaurant, if you haven't done that, or eventually you will, obviously. If that little study time has triggered you to choose this instead of that, for the moment, you've broken that habit of just kind of eating out of what fats are drawing to you and what salts and sugars are drawing you. So if you have a little bit of information, it intercedes in the normal automaticness of things and you become healthier. There are a couple of things to think about too, aside from the fish oils that everybody talks about these days, getting from good cold pressed sources, the northern oceans, things like that. But I would just do your diligence on an additive, a mineral called nitric oxide. If you're not taking it already, just Google it up. I'm not touting it. I don't have a brand preference for you, but I've been on nitric oxide for at least a few years now. It's made a tremendous difference in terms of energy levels. A man by the name of Lou Ignaro, who is still a research scientist at UCLA, developed the process for Viagra and won the Nobel Peace Prize for his use of nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, nitric oxide. And that was, I think, 1999. And as a result, Viagra became the biggest selling pill, that we have, et cetera, et cetera. It oxygenates the system. So if you're looking to sleep better at night or have a better workout in the course of your day or mental clarity, check into nitric oxide. I've talked to a lot of doctors, but I've done my research, and for me, it works. So whatever. Another thing they're experimenting, and I got this from a PhD grad in microbiology from MIT. He's a real one of those brainiacs, but he's into studies. And he says they're doing a lot of studies on lecithin as an additive, 4,000 grams per day. And lecithin is an anti-inflammatory, and they're finding a very powerful one. So think about that. Also think about and study, because there's controversy in probiotics. You hear Gundry and a lot of these guys talk about probiotics, really important stuff to do, because we've got 100 billion brain cells, right? You hear that, 100 billion neuron cells. But in your gut, you've got 100 million brain cells. They're literally the same composition as what is in your brain. They're neuron cells. So when you have gut reactions about things, it's your body literally reacting from the gut and the brain to process information. The better you do in performance for your gut, feeding it what it needs to grow and flourish with the trillions of cells there, the better the pathway. And it's called the vagus nerve, goes from your brain to your intestine. Check it out. This is just science, been around for decades now. There is a connection. So a healthy gut is important. If what they say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, pay attention to what you're eating in the morning. Simple sugars, the regular normal cereals, they're pleasurable, but they absolutely add nothing with their processedness. Go to something and you can search it out through the Mediterranean diet that I've referred to. So enough beating up on that. Number 4 is exercise on a daily basis. Neuroscientists say that the most important exercise that you can do, if you can do it, is running. Because as you're running and paying attention to what's going on, especially outdoors and not on concrete, I used to do that. I was a runner for 35 years and my knees are paying a price for it now. So if you don't have the knees or you don't have the willingness to run outside, because that detaches the amygdala portion of your brain, because you have to focus and pay attention to what's going on. So it truly allows the systems to relax and to hit that restart button. Do some form of exercise, because even the smallest amount ratchets up your T cells in your system, anti-inflammatory. Your endorphins go up, as you certainly have heard. Well, if you're not doing it because you haven't got the time, think about what you are doing, because by comparison, exercise is probably more important at that time. My number 5, stay socially in touch. We are made to communicate. We're storytellers. I don't know if any of you obviously, I don't know if any of you are readers, much less have read the book Sapiens by Harari. It's a really interesting book on man's evolution. And he says that from the time of the agrarian society, and that's back some thousands of years, people have learned to come together, tell stories, listen, and be simpatico to one another. These times have a tendency of straining people. So if you're not in touch, write down 4 people's names that you're going to contact, and not so much telling them your story, but draw them out as to how they're doing, because everybody has a need to be heard. And once doing that, they'll probably ask you as well. Paying it forward just by asking people, showing that you care, and even offering, something that they can benefit by, passing it forward, so to speak, in today's terminology. It's a good thing to do. It's a nice thing to do. And probably these days, especially more than any time before, it is so freaking important, right? Learn something new. Learn something new stimulates the brain. Learn the harmonica, learn to dance, learn anything. It doesn't really matter, because you're stimulating portions of the brain that you're waking up to new things. And when you get past the learning curve over the first week or 2, and that's when most people cave in, and you start seeing a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, and your coordination, your understanding becomes a little bit more enhanced, that's the time that you start glowing, because you start sharing that with people around you. And telling that story of accomplishment elevates you. He stands tallest who helps another person up. A quote from Khalil Gibran. Nonetheless, whoever I stole that from, it's really true. You become the teacher, and you're never more energized when you have mastered something. And it doesn't have to be 10,000 applications, as Malcolm Gladwell has said. Some things are mastered in a much, much shorter period of time than that. So don't be intimidated by that. Start your day. Here's my number 7. Write 5 things down that you're grateful for. Some of you are into gratitude and into gratitude lists as you go to sleep at night. Really good. That works for you. That's terrific. But if you've heard this and kind of shucked it off, pay attention to it. And if you start your day with a good breakfast, and you start your day writing down 3 things, 4, 5 things that you're grateful for, even if you have a difficult time because woe is me kind of thing, and you're really playing the victim and you can't think of anything good. In the face of that attitude, if you have to struggle to find things that are good, you're going through the exercise properly. Things that come easily, that aren't hard fought or hardly ever hard savored. So if you have to fight for those 3 or 4 or 5 things, so much the better for you. But stay the course, do it for 2 or 3 weeks. You'll find that the payoff is terrific. My number 8, eliminate as much self-talk as you find yourself wallowing in. You come to a meeting like this, everybody shares. It's all jaunty, jolly, good stuff. When you're around people who matter, maybe in terms of business, everybody's positive and everybody's a problem solver. But in those moments, we all have them. You have them and I have them as well. What do you do with those thoughts? When you're aware of a negative thought, best thing you can do is distract yourself. If you're in a place where there are smells, go over and just savor a smell, a flower. If you're indoors and there's a painting on a wall, there's a photo from past days in your life when people surround you with love, go into it. Change your mind at that time, and you'll find it becomes easier and easier to do as time goes on. But the more you wallow in whatever that mental depravity happens to be, understand it's not just a passing moment that you're getting through, because you're banging away and making impressions on your brain cells. And the more you do that, the easier it is to do. Things build up. It is toxic, just like building the processed foods and the medicines in your system. They give for the moment, but in the long term, they take away. Let me get to I got to jump a couple of points because I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to give you something. Learn how to relax, learn how to let go of things. A base level of relaxation is a wonderful place to go to. There was a book called The Relaxation Response. It was written by a Dr. Herbert Benson. It was back in the 80s. And one of the points of the book he discusses is that once a person learns how to relax very deeply, it becomes immediate go-to. If you're learning meditation, if you're learning chants and mantras and hypnosis and whatever it is that you're learning, you learn it the formal way. You learn it properly. Don't take shortcuts to begin with. But once you can do things properly over a period of time, then you can generally shorten that up dramatically, because it's not based on the time to get there. It's the recognition of what you experience at those levels. So you can literally shift on a dime with a few deep breaths. I teach that in seminars. And to go to that immediately allows you to relax instantaneously and learn to let go. When you let go, you're a better student for whatever it is that you're there to learn or to direct your mind into positive areas. That's what hypnosis is. So let me tout you on something and give you something. I've taught self-hypnosis to hundreds of thousands of people since 1972. And I do that on a consistent basis, probably taught this technique, if you will, this concept to more people than anybody in the country. Because number one, I'm a geezer. And number two, I do this with great consistency and I do it with great passion because I've seen extraordinary things take place. From pain control to improving memory to literally people creating ageless brains. You develop a younger brain by exercising it. This is a terrific exercise. When you learn self-hypnosis, you speed up the learning process 2 to 5 times what it is. You want to improve your golf game? You want to improve your temperament? You want to be a little kinder? You want to listen better, read faster, improve it doesn't matter what you want to improve. If it's already a part of you, you can take it to another level. When you believe you can't, you have just stopped growing, you have stopped learning, and in many cases in that area, you've stopped living. So if you're not stimulating yourself to move ahead, why the hell not? Get past yourself. So learning hypnosis is a real key to that. So here's a give that I want to give you. I don't know if I can do this properly without screwing up the whole thing, so I'm not even going to try. When this is over, our little intimate time together, go to my website. I'm not telling you anything. Go to barryeisen.com. I can put that in the chat in a bit. I don't want to get distracted, but Barry Eisen, you see the spelling, .com. And go to a drop down, you'll see the headings on the top. Under programs, and some of you may be doing it, the third thing down is hypnosis CDs and downloads. Well, CDs are a thing of the past, so I'm not relating to that. But the downloads, like, here's what I have to offer. I want you to take a look at those 13 downloads. Don't buy anything. I mean, you want to, that's great. They're 12 bucks. But a lot of thought and a lot of time and a lot of scavenging from the best minds around have gone into those downloads. There are 2 tracks on all of them. The first track, 25 to 30 minutes of solid information, behavior modification. The second track, a hypnosis session that marries your thoughts with your behaviors. That's how change takes place, as a concert, not independently thought, action, but together. Look at the one that serves your needs the best. Just click on any one of those 13 or all of them and see what sings to you at this time in your life or for somebody that you know. Then send me an email. It's simple, barryeisen@gmail.com. Tell me the one that you want. I'll send it back to you. No strings attached, no sales pitch whatsoever. So it's a free session on me for as many people as want. Now you got to do this by tomorrow at 5 o'clock, because if you come across the idea 2 months from now, I'd rather see a sense of urgency and this has made some impact. If I'm going to give it away for free, at least pay attention to it by 5 o'clock tomorrow. The only one that doesn't have 2 tracks to it is the sleep hypnosis session. It's a long session of hypnosis designed to put you to sleep and to kick off a real organic flow of proper sleep, probably the most important one that I have. I'm not touting you on it necessarily, but if the shoe fits, wear it. So that one only has 1 track, but I'll send you any of those. While you're rambling around on that drop-down box, I'll just offer you something very quick and easy without banging you over the head. Go to the one that says Life Skills Seminar. That's what I've taught in your office a number of times over the maybe 25 years or so that I've known Chris and Phil and Janie and some of the other guys there that it's not just, the names aren't flowing. But that 3-hour seminar, I've kind of tooled it up to be more sensitive to the internet these days. And if you go to that click down box, it's the first one, you'll see that online it was $2.99. I reduced it to $139. If anybody feels that in this learning time, before you really hit the streets running, that you could use a tune-up with a personalized hypnosis session attached to it and the full program in written and audio and the personalized follow-up, it's $100 for you guys. All right, it was $2.99, $139 you'll see on the website. So for $100, it's quite a package. Take a look and you see if the value is there for you. And what you do is don't go through the website. It's not designed, because it's not for everybody. It's people that I'm talking to here and now. And literally for the past month, I don't want to pull your leg. It's for people that I'm talking to at Zoom meetings. It's a special offer. And it's been very well received. I hope you appreciate the value to it. So send me your information or call me and let me know, and I'll start you off on that right path. Anyway, get the free one. No strings attached. If you want to pursue the other stuff, or send me an email or a phone call, I'd be happy to talk to everybody and anybody individually, one-on-one. Anyway, I think my time has kind of come to an end. So whatever the protocol is at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting back to Phil and whoever the powers may be. For the rest of you, if you would like to send, wow, there's a lot of chats there. Do send me a chat. If we don't get to it here, I will entertain that and get back to you in an email. And thanks for listening. I hope that you had some good thoughts impact you, and I hope we remain friends over years and years. So be your best self, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you, guys.
Barry, thank you very much, as always, for the provocative thoughts and advice. Nick has posted in chat the link to Barry's website, so you can all access it. He's done it one more time. Thank you very much again, Barry. As always, really enjoy it. And there have been a number of properties posted in the chat. If you would refer to that, we are very near the end of our time. Is there anything any one of you want to share? Linda, you can unmute yourself, yes.
I have a property that just came back on the market due to COVID. The property needs probate court approval, which they have to do in person. And so the probate date that was set for the court in March, at the end of March, we went into escrow in February, was delayed until September 18th. So the buyer held out as long as they could, but they had to move. So I just put it back as active. The new date is, as I said, September 18th. So we're in a 60-day escrow time period. It's really quite a nice house. And I'll give you all the details. I put it in the chat. I don't want to take up too much time, but call me. I've gotten a lot of calls on it. I just put it back on active. So if you have a buyer who is looking, it's a very nice esplanaded street in Compton. It was a referral to me from the probate attorney. So give me a call. Happy to show it to you. It's very nice. The front lawn is, as we speak, being reseeded. So there'll be new grass on it. So
Great.
let me know.
Can you hear
Thank
me?
you, Linda. Marilyn.
Hello?
Heather, hang on. Marilyn
Okay.
Shawshaw has it coming soon.
No problem.
A 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhome with a 2-car garage in Lakewood, almost 1,700 square feet. All the baths have been remodeled. Like 3 years ago, all the windows were replaced, double pane. HOA dues are low, $250. It's an end unit, and it's on a Village Green Drive. It's going to be about 605, I believe. Okay.
Thank you, Marilyn. And Tracy Wiltsey,
What happened to me, Phil Jones?
you're not reading the chat, Heather. You're next.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, I wasn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil. And thank you, Barry. Good to see you again.
You too.
My coming soon, thanks, is going to be probably Friday. It's Stratford Square, beautiful 3-bedroom, 3 full bath, 2,000 square feet. There's a office that could be a 4th bedroom right off the living room. There's also a family room, formal dining room, and an outdoor dining patio area, private backyard. And we're gonna have photos taken on Friday, and then it'll probably go live on Friday. So let me know if you have anybody who would like a turnkey property in a really nice area in a private street. No one goes down that street. Yes. And unless you live there. So please let me know. It's gonna probably be in the 820, 840 range because of the size and condition and location and so forth. So please let me know. 562-619-7744. Thanks so much. Bye.
Great. Okay, Heather, take it away.
Okay, this is not real estate properties related, but it's real estate related. And Chris, I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah.
So regarding the unemployment, I was on the phone with people from CAR helping, and there was a problem inputting information to continue it. And we couldn't remove a yes or a no answer and make it blank to start over. We redid it 3 times. It took an hour. If you call anybody for help that's not CAR, the answer machines say, we are too busy to talk to you. So I don't know why EDD has voicemail. So I don't know if you have any connections, Phil or Chris, with anybody who can help. It's like we're stuck. The system is screwed up and you can't do it. It's something so simple, everybody. Just sharing in case I can help anyone else.
Yeah,
You made me do it, you two. Yes?
As you all know, the legislature is investigating the EDD. The leadership of the EDD has been called into question for a number of issues. Sorry about that, Heather. It's frustrating to thousands, if not more, in the state. We'll report back to you on any developments through CAR. I know they're talking to them on a regular basis.
But to help you at this moment, no, we don't know anyone at EDD who can help.
Or the lady from CAR said she has had realtors on the phone crying hysterically with what they're going through because it's so awful. And I was fine. It's just one little glitch in the technology. But I do have a real estate need. Thank you, you guys. And that is I'm still looking for a 1-story condo in Tanglewood. I have an older person who cannot climb stairs, and they are rare on the market. So if you have any connections with that, we would be most grateful. Thank you.
All right, Heather, thank you. And Kathy Shawshaw wanted help in pricing her new construction. You want to share a little bit about it, Kathy?
Yeah, so my townhomes at Termino and PCH, 1800, 1802, 1804, and 1806, they're on the market. They're listed at $699. I'm going to put a post on Inside Scoop. And if you guys could just go take a look at the listings first and just give me, your idea of what you think. And just so you know that what we're pricing them against are the townhomes on Grand and PCH where the bowling alley used to be. 2-bedroom, similar square footage, just went into is about to close at just under 689. So we're kind of pricing them off of that, and they're new construction, but I've been talking with my seller about the pricing, and we're trying to figure out if it's price or just the situation. Also, don't forget my condo in the International Tower, Fixer, upper 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's listed at $625, and it's a trust. So, you know, I'm hoping that that price is flexible. Thank you very much.
All righty, thank you. And Lori has posted that her 106 Claremont is active now. Please check the chat. Lori, would you like to say anything about it? Apparently not.
All right, sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm doing a virtual tour today. Lauren Line's going to help me at 12 o'clock. And the home is so great because it's on a lot and a half, and it takes full advantage of all of the outdoor spaces between the front area, the patio on the side, and the 2 balconies. It is a great, great home, and it is just waiting for that perfect buyer. It's listed at 1585, and let me know if you have anybody to see it, because I would love to show it to you. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Lori. And as you all see, Chris has put a strong recommendation, and I concur wholeheartedly with it, to please take advantage of Barry's offerings. Over the years, his program has helped many of our agents as well as ourselves. So take advantage of it. And with that, if you've not read the Wisdom of a Third Grade Dropout that I sent out yesterday, I would encourage you to do that. So with that, everybody have a...
Wait, Phil. Nick needs to say something, and I need to say something.
Yeah, Juvie, go ahead, Juvie. You raised your hand. You're muted, darling.
Beauty. It's a beautiful home and a unit. The unit is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's about 3202 square feet, and the unit above the garage is 1-bedroom, 1-bath, about 704 square feet. It's the fun thing about this house is that it's an entertainer's delight backyard. It has a beautiful pool and spa. It has a full kitchen with the barbecue, burners, sink and refrigerator, and it's just a lovely home. So any of you want to see it, let me know. Bring your buyers, and that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Juvie. Chris.
I just wanted to say something. Some of you, because we posted that we were looking for a garage for storage, I don't know why this would cause any rumors, but the rumor was going around that we were closing our office, which is far from the truth. We are not closing our office. We have no plans to close our office. We did, however, move out of the top floor, and we needed some room to store some files that we had in storage up there. So, you know, just shut down that rumor, and we did find a place to store those files. We are not leaving the ground floor. That office is staying right where it is. So hopefully, if you hear anybody saying we're leaving our office, you can stop those rumors. We're not leaving. We're staying right where we are. And we're not leaving the other offices. So,
all right. See, Chris gets all the rumors, gets all of the meaty stuff. So with that, guys.
One more, Phil, one more. So I know a lot of you guys on this call right now have listings, and a lot of our top producers are doing so well right now, and I'm very proud of everybody, but I do feel that we are missing the boat on exposing a lot of your properties with virtual tours, either virtual open houses, what have you. And I know a lot of it comes from probably not feeling super comfortable executing on these types of prospecting methods. if you have a listing and you don't feel comfortable advertising it that way, I have people who really want to do a virtual open house, want to advertise your property on social media. And I feel, especially in this COVID environment, the more exposure for your listings, the better, right? So if you guys have listings and you don't feel comfortable, please reach out to me. I have an arsenal of people that would love to promote your property virtually in many ways. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I've been telling agents, hey, call, reach out, touch base with the people who have the listings. You know, I've shared listing IDs, but if you're a top producer right now and you just don't feel comfortable doing these things, I totally get it, but let's not lose the opportunity to expose your property to the market, okay? So if you have something, you want to get it out there, let me know. It would make somebody's day and generate more business for everybody.
And can I just touch on that real quick? Sorry. I swear I'll take 1 second. And if you guys are feeling comfortable doing this or not, anything you post on social that is marketing your properties, please tag us. If you tag CBCA on Instagram or on your stories or on Facebook or on your Facebook stories or anything like that, please tag us, because I will just repost it. And we have a ton of traction on our sites. So, I mean, we have great exposure on our platforms too. So if you tag us, I will repost it, and then that'll be showing on our feeds as well. So don't forget about that. Done.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, couple of reminders. We've only had very few of you have taken advantage of the Tom Ferry offer through Coldwell Banker West that we've extended to everybody. It is a dramatic savings on all of those programs. You get 6 days of Tom Ferry training for a substantial reduction in the cost. So look into that. Nick's posted a video on it. We can repost some information on it. And finally,
it's all on the scoop, Phil.
I know. I just
well, we can't it's all there.
Bill, I just want to interject one thing. I read a very interesting article about there is no need to reform Proposition 13. We really have to make sure that this does not get taken away from our people.
Sharon, we'll be devoting a great deal of time to that before the election, and it's not taking away Prop 13. Please do not confuse that. It is an attempt to take away commercial tax, Prop 13 tax treatment for commercial property. We are strongly opposed to it. We'll be talking more about it, Sharon.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that then. Thank you.
Thank you. One final reminder, today at noon is Phil Atwan doing his 1031 tax deferred exchange class. Please, there are new developments in it. Please check into it. The COVID-19 has led to some new developments in that tax arena. So please check it out with Phil at noon today. Am I safe to say goodbye, Chris?
We don't care. You can leave.
Wow. With that, everyone have a great week. Go get him, Tiger.